All right, so this is a fun topic to talk about. I think a lot of times students have great ideas and they blow me away and impress me a lot, but sometimes the way that they articulate those ideas causes audience awareness problems that make them look uncredible or unreliable. So I'm here to help you avoid that and recognize these types of errors in your own writing so that you can improve it. How many of you have seen a teacher write things like conversational or slang or idioms or first person, second person? Maybe they're making you these notes you don't understand even in shorthand and you're like, what am I doing wrong? Has anyone had that experience? Okay, I see some of you nodding. You don't want to be on camera raising your hand. That's fine. All right, so let's start out by talking about who the academic audience is. And you guys have a space to write your own notes about this, but who do you think it consists of? Who's in it?
Everybody in the world.
Okay, well you did say something that is true, right? The academic audience has to be global, right? So you definitely want to write that down. That means that people who are speaking in the language that you are writing in, which for most of you I'm assuming is English, they need to be able to understand what you are saying. Who else is in the audience?
Schools, professors.
Okay, yeah, so you have like professors, teachers, right? Who else? Who else is in a school?
Students.
Yeah, students. And another big component of the academic audience. How many of you have done a research paper before? All right, good. When you guys find articles, who writes those articles?
Professionals.
Okay, yeah, so sometimes they'll be professors at a school, but sometimes they're actually scholars, right, or researchers. They may be working for a university, but they may not ever teach. Their job may be solely research, so that the university is coming out with relevant findings in any given field frequently, right? Okay, so we have to direct everything we write to the academic audience for a few reasons. And I wrote these for you. First, it's going to make you appear credible by showing your reader that you're not biased, incorrect, or unprofessional. That's probably the biggest thing that you guys need to take with you today. I've had former students that took, my integrated reading and writing class that went on to go into nursing. And they say, I'm so glad that I had that class because everything that I turn in nursing, it can either make me look like I know what I'm talking about or look like I'm an idiot, just based on how it's written. So that's important that you come across as professional. What does it mean to be biased?
To favor one side over the other.
Yeah. And if you guys are writing a persuasion paper, you probably do favor one side, right, over the other. But why do you not want to show that? Why do you not want your bias to come across to a reader?
Because that makes you unreliable. It's like you like this, so obviously you're going to talk about that.
Right, it makes you look unreliable. It's better if you can assemble the facts and the evidence and talk about both sides of the issue in a way that makes you look like you've considered the full picture and this is now your opinion based on that, right? Okay, another thing we have to consider is you're going to add clarity to your paper and eliminate confusion when you keep these audience errors in mind. So the audience is global, right? A lot of the ways that we speak, like the slang we come up with, idioms we use, conversational tone, this stuff may make sense to us, people in our city, in our school, in our state, even our country, right? but they might be things that don't make sense to somebody living in England or Asia or wherever else in the world. So we've got to make sure that we're communicating in a way where people who can read in English understand what we're saying, and we're also being clear. And then your tone is going to be persuasive to a reader. So if you sound like you're a freshman in college, no offense, but your reader may not believe what you say, right? If you make yourself sound like you have more authority by using the correct audience awareness techniques, right? Then you're going to be more trustworthy, more believable to your audience. Yeah? Okay, so types of errors. I wrote down everything that I could think of for you guys. You have it in this nice packet, so you can take it with you. And we're going to talk about, why these errors are problematic. Why do you want to get them out of your writing? And some of them you've thought about before, I'm sure, and some of them may be a surprise. So at the end, you guys will get to work together and fix a bunch of these problems for yourself. Okay, so first person, point of view confuses people. Like, you've got first person point of view, second person point of view, and third person point of view. All right, so what is first person? What words constitute first person?
I,
Yeah, you've got I, me, my. Yep, we, us, and then our. Okay, great. So first person, I'm sure you've read a short story in first person point of view. Guys, if you're next to people that are going to distract you, go ahead and just find a different seat, okay? All right, you've read stories in first person point of view. The person's talking about, I went to the store, I saw this person, yeah, hopefully not, but I saw this person there, we started talking, right? First person point of view. Second person, what constitutes second person?
When you're like directly talking to the audience.
Yeah, so it's like what words?
You.
Yep. You. Your. Okay, and then the contraction, your. We'll talk about contractions in a minute. Third person, everything else, right? People get so overwhelmed when they hear, I can only write in third person. You're only eliminating like 7 words. 6, 7, 8, 9 words that you can't use. Okay, so it's not gonna limit you that much. Why do you guys think we want to avoid first person point of view? Yeah, so it makes you look like, it forms a very awkward relationship with the reader and you, right? Because it makes you look like you're just talking from your experience and you're not considering personal facts. Like if you say, well, I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes every day and I never got cancer, right? Then you're just talking about your personal experience. It's not reliable. Can make you look biased, right? And it's just a little bit too personal. Like I've had students turn in papers, they want safer sex education in schools instead of abstinence only. And they start talking about, my sister got pregnant and she was just 14. It's like too much information, right? You want a distance between yourself and the reader. They don't need to know everything about your business, right? So there are some assignments, I will say, like reflections. If you're writing a reflection about what you learned in the class, right, then that's something that would be suitable to first person. It's not that you can never use those words, but make sure that the assignment calls for it. Okay, qualifying statements are like a type of first person, but students tend to pull these out a lot. In my opinion, I think, I feel, I believe, my paper will demonstrate. So these statements, how do you think that they make you look in terms of your confidence level in your position? If you say, in my opinion, I think that guns shouldn't be allowed on campus, but that's only my feelings.
It's not a strong statement.
Yeah, it's not a strong statement. So the writer knows that the paper is your opinion, right? Everything in it is going to be your thoughts, ideas, feelings. You don't have to come in and say constantly, hey, these are my feelings, because that's just assumed when you're turning in the paper, right? So stay away from the qualifying statements because it makes you appear like you lack confidence, like you're not. It's much better to just say guns should not be allowed on campus because it creates a safety threat for teachers and students, and just support that opinion than to constantly apologize for the opinion, right? Okay, second person, even worse than first person. Why do you guys think this is something that you really want to avoid? Why is this the worst one? Put an X on it.
Put it in conversational tone.
Yeah, it's conversational. What does it do to your relationship with you and the reader? Yeah, it's like intimate. You're actually calling the reader sometimes certain things. Like in my grading, I've been called all sorts of things. A drug user. You know, just because you are a drug user, it doesn't mean you are a bad person. And I'm like, wait, I'm not a drug user. Like, why is this person accusing me of that? I don't think that they're actually accusing me of that, but you see what I mean? You're calling out the reader and saying, you are this, you are that. And that's an awkward place to put a reader in. So definitely stay away from the second person. Okay, slang. Phrases that work their way into our everyday vocabulary. The global audience definitely won't understand them. And who else might not understand slang?
Oh,
Yeah. People that are not in your generation, right? There may be young people that have slang that you wouldn't understand. People younger than you, right? I feel that way around my little cousins. I don't know what they're saying sometimes. They're like 10. Okay, so what are some slang terms you guys can think of?
YOLO.
Okay, good, yeah. You only live once. Okay, what else? I mean, things that you might actually say in a paper. Here's what I see a lot. Hang out. I see guy a lot. I see cool a lot. Anything else you guys can think of that you're like guilty of writing because, dude, writing in a paper, because you're just not thinking about how it sounds. I see chill sometimes. What else? Huh?
I was having to ask, is y'all?
Yeah, y'all. Also a contraction. I mean, sometimes words like basic, that now has a slang meaning, right? Separate from its real meaning.
Please.
Yeah. Is that F-L-E-E-K?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Yeah, so you guys get the point. You want to get rid of all of those terms because the global audience and people in a different generation will not understand what you mean. And how does that make you look in terms of your credibility?
Unprofessional.
Uneducated.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, idioms. These are tough. Phrases that don't mean what they say literally. A good example of this, the first year that I taught, I assigned a journal assignment. And I asked my students to write about a pet peeve. What did I want them to write about?
Something that annoyed you.
Something that annoyed them. What did I get from one of my students? Her dog when it was mad. Yeah. Okay, so that was my fault. And I learned my lesson. I was like, okay, that's why I can't do that. So, pet peeve, there's a lot of them that have to do with time, like in the nick of time. To be like against the clock. To knock on wood. I mean, there's literally hundreds. To string someone along. One that my students love to talk about is like heartbroken.
Wait, that's an idiom?
Yeah. You get it, it's any phrase that doesn't mean what it says literally. So your heart is not literally broken. It's still working. I know it doesn't feel like it, but yeah, if you're alive, your heart's not broken. If it is, you'll know because you won't live much longer. Okay, like being against the clock, you're not actually against anything, right? You don't have a string that you're pulling someone along by. These are just like phrases that we make up, and they're fun to talk about. They're fun to say. You don't have to eliminate them from your vocabulary. I used one at the beginning of the workshop. I said that student writing often blows my mind, right? That means to be impressed with, but my mind is not literally exploding. So any you guys can think of?
It's raining cats and
Yeah, raining cats and dogs. What else? If you go to this website, idiomsite.com, there's tons of them, but you can't think of any?
There's tons of it.
Anyone from like a different country where you have your own idioms that people here wouldn't understand?
There's
There's
tons of
Spanish.
it.
Yeah,
There's tons of it.
yes, tons, in every language, yeah.
I know in Spanish, but I'm going to do one.
Yeah, you couldn't even explain them to us, but they would sound really like weird, right? Just like it's gonna sound weird to someone in England. If we're like, don't get your underwear in a knot, they're gonna be like, what are you talking about, right? No one says
You have
that.
to say knickers.
Maybe they would understand it, but maybe they still wouldn't. Yeah, if you guys go to that website, you'll be surprised. It's a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Like means something to us, means nothing to other people. Kill two birds with one stone. To lose your marbles.
Early bird gets the
Early
worm.
bird gets the worm. All these things. Again, means something to us, just confuses other people. Okay, cliches are overused phrases. We want to avoid them because they're ineffective. They've been used so many times they don't mean anything anymore. Love is worth fighting for. It will happen if it's meant to be. Can you guys think of other cliches? Huh?
Nothing. Fine.
Anybody? Cliches?
I love you to the moon and back.
Yeah.
That's cliche.
Lol. Like when someone says lol.
A picture's worth 1,000 words is idiomatic. People also use it a lot. Okay, then you've got cliches that are used excessively by students, and I guarantee you, your professors are done with these phrases. Kill them all. In today's society, in the world today, so basically just, and since the beginning of time, kill those phrases. Because that's how your professors have seen like every other paper started, and it just doesn't mean anything anymore. So just state what you mean, start your paper, you know, get rid of it. Okay, contractions, great for speaking, still problematic for writing. You know, don't, can't, won't. What are some other ones?
Shouldn't.
Shouldn't. Yep.
Wouldn't.
Wouldn't.
Couldn't.
Shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't. Yeah. Take these, separate them out into two words. You know, could not. Would not. Should not. Etc. Anyone know why?
Word count.
A little bit, yeah. Makes you look a little lazy. It's also just conversational, right? That's like how you talk to your friends. There's a separation. You're not gonna find an academic study that says, you know, we couldn't find 200 subjects exhibiting the same fault, so we can't continue. I mean, they're not gonna write that way.
What about ain't?
Yeah, ain't. Not a word really, but
It's not.
No.
It's like, that's one of those words that's like state bound, right? Like you say it in Texas, but you won't.
yeah, it's
Same
like
with y'all.
y'all,
Y'all.
local. Okay, again, feel free to use them when you're talking. Another problem they create, sometimes people cannot see grammatical errors because of their contractions. Like, I gave you guys this example. The cautious student must be aware of their THEY''RE audience at all times. That's the wrong kind of there, first of all, right? Because this one means what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we should probably just talk about the theirs right now. So there is like, ERE is a location, right? And then there, that's like belonging to them. That is their prom, that is their car. And then there, THEY''RE, they are. So here in this sentence, the cautious student must be aware of their audience at all times. Even if they use the right there, what grammatical error is present? How many students do we have? So you've got a pronoun that is plural and an antecedent, one student that's singular. So the sentence should be, the cautious student must be aware of his or her audience at all times. So when you're using contractions, sometimes you're masking other problems and it makes it harder to explain that. Okay, conversational tone. This is like if you're emailing your friends, make sure that those emails sound different from, you know, emails you would send to your professors. I get a lot of conversational tone, sometimes in papers, but especially in email, like people using text language with me that I don't really understand what they mean. I got an email once that just said, "Were do long journals," and know what that meant exactly, some kind of abbreviation. So make sure to be careful of your tone and how you come across. You know, I've had students have personal interviews and they say things like, "I hit the streets to find out what people thought." You know, just writing it as if they were talking to a friend instead of writing an essay. All right, weak verbs. These are kind of fun. Make sure you pick descriptive and specific verbs instead of vague choices. Like if you have a sentence, students that work hard get A's. Get is a pretty weak verb there. Like what could you replace that with?
Obtain.
Obtain, good. Earn. Receive, yes, all of these would be way better than get.
Speak.
Or the worst sentence to teachers ever. I don't get it. What do you not? What is the it? What do you not understand? And also, you know, be clear about it. I don't understand what a logical fallacy is. Much more helpful question. We get a lot of emails that say, "I don't get it." We don't know what to do about that. Okay, logical fallacies. I'm just gonna hit the tip of the iceberg, but I gave you guys a website, yourlogicalfallacyis.com. These are the big ones that students do. And I forgot one on here, so we'll talk about that too. Appealing to an absent authority. So how many of you have ever written a sentence that's like, studies show this, or according to experts that, but then you don't actually cite anything? You've done it before? I know. It's so tempting, because you want to sound believable and credible, but it takes time to find that research and pull out those statistics, right? Just make sure that when you appeal to authority, it's clear what authority you're appealing to, that you use some kind of citation that shows, this is the study that shows that. I'm not just making it up and saying to you that it is a study. Okay, false cause, just because two things are related doesn't mean one thing causes the other, right? So if you go outside, you'll catch a cold. Why is that a false cause?
Because germs cause colds.
Yeah, well, yeah, colds is a virus. Yeah, so you have to come into contact with the virus. Why do people say that? Like, if you're going outside, you're gonna catch a cold.
Because it's cold
outside.
What does that have to do with it, though?
There's like colds come around more during cold.
Yeah, so actually being cold lowers your immunity, right? It weakens your immune system. So if you're out in the cold long enough, your immune system is weakened, and then you come into contact with a virus, and your immune system is unsuccessful in fighting it off, then you will catch a cold, right? But don't just like jump from one thing to another without explaining stuff in between. Can you guys think of things you've heard people do that with? Just false causes where they throw something out and don't explain the relationship? What about the one about, you know, immigration is responsible for job loss? What's the problem with just saying a statement like that?
There's nothing to back it up.
Yeah, so you have to show connection between things. You can't just throw them out, right? In terms of immigration causes job loss, we have seen an increase in immigration, right? But what kind of jobs have we lost?
The kind that nobody else wants to do.
Okay, well, we have those, right? But people who lost jobs that are out of work, you're saying that a lot of people who immigrate and take jobs that other people don't want. But what kind of jobs are not here that maybe used to be here?
Like here in Newman.
Could be here in Midland. Think about like the products you use. Where are they made?
Factory?
Yeah, they
Okay, so a lot of our manufacturing
Yeah.
jobs, right, are in different countries now. Because why?
It's cheaper.
Yeah, cheaper labor. And so those are the jobs that were lost. So it doesn't have anything to do with the people coming in to the country. They're not taking those jobs. Those jobs are gone from the country. See what I mean? So make your connections logical, make them easy to follow. All right, slippery slope. This one's fun. Your parents probably do this to you. It's like you go from point A to Z. It's kind of one false cause after another, and there's no relationship really between these things that you're proving. It really gets out of control. So I wrote one for you guys. It's like, if you don't study for the chemistry test, you won't pass, and if you don't pass, you're going to be more likely to drop out of school. And students that drop out begin using drugs, which can lead to hospitalization or even death, and your parents may disown you, which means you could end up homeless. So unless you want to be homeless, addicted to drugs, possibly dead, and a high school dropout, you should study for your chemistry test. It's like, whoa. You guys laugh, but I get papers like this all the time. You know, people want to write about the effects of divorce on children. Okay, that's fine. But somehow, by the end of the paper, the children of divorce are lonely, desolate, incapable of forming human relationships. They're often homeless. They often have substance abuse problems. It's just crazy because there's no proof in the paper for those things happening. It's just the student ran out of things to say, so they just started making things up, right? And this can happen with an entire paragraph, or worse, it can happen with an entire essay. So just be careful about that. And then the one I left out, but I should have put in here, is personal attacks. Make sure that you don't insult people in your paper. Like, you don't say Wall Street executives are greedy and their actions are inexcusable and they deserve to be thrown up in jail and locked away for the rest of their lives because they're deplorable. Like, that just makes you sound like you have a personal grudge, right? You've got to explain things. You can still say that actions are negative, that they're inexcusable, but you have to use a tone that makes it seem like you're not just losing your temper, you're not angry. You're coming from a place of reason. Sound good? Any questions so far? Okay, so now we get to do the fun part of the workshop. So you guys have sentences inspired by real things that I see all the time, and I'm gonna have you guys work in groups. Oh guys, I skipped passive voice with you, so we'll talk about that now. If you can throw the phrase by zombies at the end of the sentence and it functions, that means your sentence lacked a subject. Be careful of doing that. The example I gave you was like, there were many mistakes made in the paper. Doesn't say what. What did you say? By who, right? Yeah, we don't have a subject there. So you could throw in, there were many mistakes made in the paper by zombies, and that sentence would work, and that's a bad thing. Equally bad, there were many mistakes made in the paper by the writer. Don't get to the subject at the end of the sentence. Just go ahead and change it. The writer made many mistakes in the paper, right? Okay, I'll leave you guys do your group work. I'll come around. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop you. We have only 9 more minutes, and I want us to have some time to talk about these. So I'm going to go around to the different groups, and we will talk. Okay, so Taylor's group over here. What kinds of problems did you guys find with number 1 here?
They put, in my opinion, and we, and as a society.
Okay, great. Yeah, so in my opinion, and I think, or what kind of statements?
Person.
Yeah, they're first person and they're qualifying statements. You can just get rid of those. And why did you guys get rid of we as a society?
It's a cliche.
Yeah, it's just kind of a student cliche, right? Like a filler. So how did you guys fix it?
We just put like that whole sentence, scratch it out, and have citizens should take on more civic responsibility.
And vote. Perfect. What'd you guys do about the second sentence?
People cannot hope for change if they do not participate in political process.
Yeah, perfect. So just getting rid of the second person and the contractions. And I heard some of you say things like, I don't even know how to make this sound okay. Like, some of these are such a mess that it's hard to fix them, right? So now you know how your teachers may feel if you turn in things like this. It can make it hard to penetrate what you're really trying to say. All right, so Cole, how about your group? What'd you guys get for number 2 here?
Number 2, you put Joe Barnes in a personal interview, or no, Joe Barnes said in a personal interview, or no,
Yeah.
Joe Barnes was in a personal interview had said, I think, and we didn't change the quote at all.
Good.
And then we took out my dad is right and I. He just, I appreciate that he has helped me
Yeah,
learn
so
about investing.
if you ever use a personal interview in your essay and it's someone you know in real life, that's fine. Just don't say that they're your dad, right? You could just say Joe Barnes, who has been investing for 15 years, said. Why did you get rid of had this to say?
I don't know, I just thought it was cliche.
Yeah, and it sounds
It is
conversational,
yeah.
right? Sometimes, like, to the ear, you can just hear it, but it's sometimes hard to realize it when it's your own writing So I always tell students, try reading your own writing out loud, because that helps you catch some of these things. Luis, how about your group
For that same sentence?
for number 3?
Oh. We put, just because someone is a drug user does not mean that he or she is a bad person. And we put a semicolon and said, that's why rehabilitation programs need to be more affordable and accessible.
Yeah, good. Did you change that to that is? Okay, good deal. And how about my group up here, number 4?
Maybe change. Men can still have fun if they have a kid just because they have more responsibilities. It does not mean that they cannot socialize with them.
Yeah, great. The only thing there, guys, be careful about the word kid. What is a kid?
Child.
Yeah, but what is a kid though?
A young child.
Yeah, it's baby goat. A kid is baby goat. A human child is a child. Kid is slang, technically. I know we all say, do you have kids? We should all just start saying
Yeah,
like,
baby goats.
yes, 7 goats. All right, how about Caroline, your group, number 5?
A student got angry at their teacher because he put he, right?
I would say the teacher,
The
'cause
teacher?
just to make it clear who it is, right?
Because the teacher could not see that the student was having a bad day trying to make their deadline.
Yeah. Good, except his or her deadline, right?
His or her.
One student. But this is where idioms get scary, right? I blew up at my teacher because he couldn't see that I was down on my luck and having a rough time trying to beat the clock and make my deadline. Rough time. That's a good example of an idiom that I see used a lot in papers. Think about it literally, it doesn't mean anything. What does that mean, a rough time? But people, it's so integrated into our vocabulary, people just use it. Okay, I don't know if any of you got this far. In today's society, money makes the world go around, so basically consumerism rules the world as people put their money where their mouth is and vote with their dollars. Did anyone get here?
Yeah, we just kind of took out the whole thing.
You took out the whole thing, okay. What are they trying to express here? See, sometimes things are so muddled, it's like, what is really going on in this sentence? In today's society is a cliche, money makes the world go around is what? An idiom, so and basically are just fillers for something to rule the world. That's a cliche, right? Put their money where their mouth is what? Is an idiom. So if we take all that out, it's basically like consumerism as people vote with their dollars. So how can we express this idea without all of those errors?
We put consumerism persuades people to vote based off of their finances.
Yeah, I think vote with their dollars, that concept, right? What they're really talking about is that when you buy products, you're kind of like voting for that practice. So if you buy goods that are manufactured using cheap labor from overseas, you're saying, I'm okay with people overseas being potentially exploited so I can have cheaper things, right? If you buy a bag of organic, cage-free eggs, right? Then you're saying like, I vote for chickens not to be in a cage, right? So that's what the whole concept is about. When you vote with your dollars, you fund the kinds of companies that you believe in, that match your personal ideals or beliefs. So they need to find a way to say that without using all these idioms, right? Anyone get here? Student loans is where it is at. By filing a simple application, the government just gives out free money. What's wrong? Everything. Is where it is at is another slang phrase that's worked its way into student writing. I just seen this one used, like, having a part-time job is where it's at. Like, and I'm just like, no, doesn't make sense. What do you guys think about this statement? By filing a simple application, the government just gives out free money. Yeah, it's an exaggeration or an oversimplification, right? That's not really how it works. So it just makes the writer look like they don't understand what they're talking about. Here's my favorite. Professor Egan, I don't get the assignment.
Understand.
I don't understand the assignment, and if you send that in an email, preferably say like what you don't understand about it. Did you want me to write a thesis and 3 topic sentences, or am I just supposed to think of a topic, right? Some kind of question. Any audience can be reached by writing according to its expectations.
The reader's expectation.
Okay, so it stands for what?
It is.
It is, so this is another like there and there. Be careful with your its. If you want to show possession, you're really just using ITS. Even though apostrophes normally show possession, if you write IT apostrophe S, you're always writing it is. So you wouldn't say any audience can be reached by writing according to it is expectations, right? So they're just trying to use the other it's, right? Okay. I hit the streets. This is based off a real sentence that I got in a paper. I hit the streets to get the lowdown and find out what students really think about math classes. There were many feelings about this, and basically what it comes down to is that math is just hard. You can be a genius and still be failing math if you don't work hard enough in lab. Your test scores are going to be low if you are not meeting with a tutor at least once a week. It's a tough sentence to understand. So, what do you guys see going on? What's causing you grief?
That last sentence where he uses the you are and the
Yeah.
right way and the wrong way in the sentence. That really bothers me.
Yeah, so the second person, and it's the wrong use of second person. Hit the streets, get the lowdown, of course, slang. And basically, just get rid of all those words you don't need,
What it comes down
just
to.
what it comes down to, right? There were many feelings about this. Again, there's no subject there. It should be like students had many feelings about this. You could throw in, there were many feelings about this by zombies, right? So that's how you know you're missing a subject. And just kind of saying, what did this person really say in all of those sentences?
Math is hard.
Math is hard, right? So try to, actually say things that are substantial when you're using up 4 sentences to say it. Children of divorce often feel isolated and lonely. Do you guys believe that? We need what there?
Proof.
Yeah, proof, some kind of citation. And it leads to not being able to form a functional relationship with other people. Well, what did they do there?
So that's a run-on.
Just a kind of rhetorical, logical fallacy. You guys know which one?
They're saying the same thing.
Yeah, or slippery slope, right? Just like going from your parents got divorced and now you can't have a functional relationship. That's like a big jump, right? I believe that, in my opinion, the right choice for president would be most likely the person with the most experience. And people that don't know that are just stupid. Personal attack. What else is going on there?
In my opinion.
In my opinion, I believe that most likely all of these things make the writer look not very confident in what they believe, right?
I mean,
It would just be better to say the right choice for president would be the person with the most experience. Yeah, just leave it at that. You don't need to throw in the insult. All right, you guys can take this with you. finish on your own. If you have any questions, see me after. If you want to sign up for the MLA APA workshop in November, we have those sign-in sheets at the front desk. They do fill up, so you might want to go ahead and get your name in.